Hey everybody, how are you today? I am Brittany Hunter. I'm the founder and CEO of Mogul Millennial, and I am super excited about today's workshop. I think it's going to be a really, really good one. Bob has already shared with me what he's going to talk about today, so it's going to be jam-packed with a whole lot of gems and just a lot of actionable advice to help you get started with using landing pages or using more strategically if you're already using them. And so really, really quickly, and Bob will tell you more, but Leadpages is one of the leading, that's funny to say leading, but it's one of the leading landing page building softwares out on the market. It's super, super easy to use. It's literally one of those super easy, like drag and drop tools. So if you're not technical, Leadpages is definitely like something you should be using to create landing pages or to create a website, just whatever it is you need to create, you should be looking at Leadpages. I'm going to drop the link to it in the chat in just a second. But just want to quickly just tell you more about Leadpages, a little bit about Bob. He's been with Leadpages for several years now. He is their sales and marketing director, if I'm correct. And he does workshops like this all the time to essentially help you as a founder grow in your business using landing pages. And so I'm gonna just shoot it over to Bob. Bob, if you can just share more about what you do in your current role at Leadpages and briefly like what you're gonna chat about today.
Yeah, I would love to. Thanks, first of all, Brittany, for having me on for your crew. And those of you that are watching live, those of you watching a replay, thanks for taking some time to learn a little bit more about how landing pages can help your startup grow faster. That's basically the essence of what we're going to talk about. I'm going to make sure that you know what's the difference between page and website. And since we're focused on landing pages, you can guess that we're going to be hitting that home a bit harder than the website. But I will show some examples of how you can make sure your website is doing its job on top of what a landing page could do. Because this is a meeting on Zoom, I also want to make sure to answer your questions along the way. So don't be shy to pop them into the chat, and Brittany and myself will make sure that we get those answered during our time together today. I believe we have about an hour carved out, so I've got about 45 minutes of content with time to make sure that we address those questions, show you inside of the Leadpages toolkit, and just make sure you're confident in putting landing pages into action for your startup. So I think that we'll make sure everybody's muted during the time, but during that Q&A period, I'd love to hear your voices as well. But in between, if you want to throw before I share my screen and kick things off, Brittany.
I'm sorry, you went out maybe like the last few seconds. What did you say?
Oh, really?
Yeah, just the last.
Yeah, I was just asking if you needed anything else before we kick things off and start sharing the screen.
Yeah, so I'm dropping the link to Leadpages now, and so you'll be able to just look at their website and just go ahead and open it up. So after the workshop, you can just check them out more. We will have a very cool offer for you at the end. So if you decide that you want to use Leadpages, then you'll be able to. Other than that, for those who are just now trickling in, just as a reminder or as an introduction, if we haven't met, I'm Brittany Hunter. I'm the founder and CEO of Mogul Millennial, and I'm just really happy that you guys took some time out to just learn with us today. I like to call this like one of our lunch and learn series since it's in the middle of the day. And so if you haven't had lunch yet, or if it's morning, depending on where you're located, go ahead, grab some coffee, grab some tea, grab a snack, and sit back and relax, take some notes. And if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat. Or at the end, you can easily just turn on your mic and ask Bob directly any questions that you may have about his presentation or about like landing pages in general. And so, yeah, I just dropped a link to Leadpages there in the chat, so you can pull that up. And Bob, I'll let you just take it from here.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for having me on. And As I mentioned, there's a few things that I want to make sure that we do accomplish together with our time. The most important, of course, is to make sure that you feel like landing pages are a key part of your startup or not. Like you can walk away and say, never mind, I'm just going to stick with what I know. But my hope, of course, is that you learn a lot from our short time together and that you do put this into action, because I do the pathway that you're currently on. So during our time, I'll also share some tips on building your list with future buyers and what are some of the tricks of doing that. And of course, some best practices for turning more clicks into customers. I do have a free resource for you. I'll be sharing with you in just a few moments that'll inspire you with ideas on what you could do for your own marketing. And then we do have a special offer from Leadpages and Mogul Millennial today. So if you do take a look at the website right now, great, but don't start a trial or do anything yet until I give you a better link that's going to give you a better deal than what you can see along the way. And as I mentioned, please do ask questions in the chat and we'll open it up a little bit towards the end. My goal is that by the end of this session, you will make a choice for yourself of using landing pages for your startup or not. And whether it's yes or no, that's up to you. But my goal is to at least give you the confidence in making your decision. If you I have been with Leadpages for 9 years now, but I actually 8 years as an employee, but over 9 years as a user. So I'm one of the very first users of Leadpages and have used it for my business before I joined Leadpages, and I use it with my wife's executive coaching business as well. And one philosophy I want to impart with you is to take action and revise later. So you're going to learn a lot during our short time together. You don't need to know everything perfectly, but you should be willing to take action on what you learned, take the real world feedback you get and revise along the way. And I'd love to hear what kind of results you get along the way. So make sure you connect with us at Leadpages on social and at Bob the Teacher. As far as Leadpages goes, we are the leading landing page software and website builder for startups and entrepreneurs during those first couple years of business, especially, and then people use us on an ongoing basis after that. But one of the things I are pivoting to a new idea, or they even just want to launch a new campaign and they're even pretty well established. We do that through empowering you with landing page builders, website builder, pop-ups for existing sites, alert bars, etc. And we serve a very wide range of folks across the country, across the United States and North America, and across the world, really. The photo that you see here is actually collage on our wall in our Minneapolis headquarters of people who range from photographers to fitness and nutrition people, folks that are this guy here, Kevin Curry, you might know, Fit Men Cook. He uses us to drum up interest in his recipes and books and so forth. We have influencers. We have people that are helping out with families and people who do software apps and stuff like that. So nice wide range of industries and businesses that work with us. And just a quick note, as far as startups go, we love the startup industry because we are ourselves out of the photo that you see here is a screenshot of Clay Collins, our co-founder, who started Leadpages up in 2012. In his loft in Minneapolis, in South Minneapolis. And it's grown now to serve a ton of people, raised money. We've been able to acquire a company. We then got acquired ourselves as a segment of what became a larger company. We're now part of the Red Brick portfolio. So whether you're bootstrapping, we know that history. Whether you want to invest and get capital and raise, we know that history. If you want to merge with another company and be acquired, we know that history. And so whatever your vision is of your startup, as a company, not only can we serve you with our tool set, but we also have experienced that kind of growth and change and evolution. And I think that's just an important thing to share. So I do want to ask you a quick question in the form of a poll. And so in the chat, feel free to give your answer. Where are you just starting out and you really have nothing except an idea? Have you started to make the marketing push and you have maybe Instagram account, maybe you're using TikTok or some other type of social media, but that's all that you have. Do you have a website that you hate because you can't really control it? Or do you have a website that you love and you just want to make sure that your marketing is on point going forward? Go ahead and put your letter there. And if you're unmuted right now, if you can mute yourself, that would be great, so that we keep the recording nice and clean. We'll have a chance for some questions a little bit later on. So lots of folks are happy with their websites. That's awesome. A few of you are kind of in transition, it looks like, which is great. I'd also love for you to put into the chat at some point, what is your startup about? What are you actually marketing? What are you solving as the problem for the world, for your audience? You provide, since you're here with us live. All right. So with that in mind, a lot of you put multiple answers, which is great. So you're just starting out, but you have a website that you hate or that you love, and that's all perfect. So the main thing is I wanted to know where you're at. Where you're at right now is perfect. The training that I have for you will help you regardless of that stage that you're in. All right. So Alicia's shared 4-in-1 monthly planner. Suna's got a maternal health business. David's got Brooklyn Creative Studio. Let's see, Brandy's got Ask Sammy, which helps people get the right equipment and resources to help loved ones age in place. Crypto Mom from Kendra Cole, the Crypto Mom .app, great website domain. Perfect. So really good to see what the range is of what it is that you're offering. So let's talk first about the difference between landing and web. Please do ask them along the way. But the thing before I share what makes the key differences and key distinction is the results that you're likely going to get from landing pages versus websites in terms of growth, in terms of conversion. And so as we looked across the industry for website conversion rates, which means the number of people that show up on your website and become a lead or become a buyer, typically speaking, an unoptimized traditional standard website converts about 1 to 3% of its traffic towards the next stage of what we would call a conversion journey. So, I'm sure you know the math of this. Every 100 visitors, 2 or 3 of them are going to convert. But a landing page that's super focused on something in particular, and we'll talk about what those things should be, by their nature, the average normal unoptimized landing page is going to convert between 8 to 25%. You 3 to 20 times faster list growth. So I don't know about you, but to me, that means that if I want to go through a growth spurt, I want to invest my time and energy on getting landing pages out the door so that I can get more people to join my list, to join my customer base. So let me share with you a couple of examples of what you can use lead pages for, but also just to give you some ideas on what makes for a really nice site. So we're going to start first with a site called DIY My Brand. And this site is created with lead pages. It has also the alert bar tool at the top, but she's a graphic designer and uses this to make sure people know about her courses and about the services that she can offer. One of the things to notice about a high converting website is it should still be focused on getting people to take that next decision, and it shouldn't be overly distracted by random stuff. Will know about her courses, and as you scroll through, you're focused on the courses, but she also gives you the opportunity to join her list with a specific type of free resource, which we would call a lead magnet. And the navigation is pretty clean as well. So everything is nice and smooth, and there's not a lot of things that are distracting. All right. Another example is Kanadu, which is an app. I saw in the chat that some of you are doing apps. A lot of folks, they can't rely on the app store alone to drum up business. So they market using landing pages or high converting websites that are mobile responsive. And Kanadu is one of those examples. And they're using this on the front door, basically, of their marketing so that people can get to know what they're about. Another example is from Odesso. They do automation software so that people in the enterprise world will know more about what they do. One of the things of the page so that you know that their main call to action, which is contact sales, is always visible, and what they're showing encourages people to, really identify themselves as an ideal customer or not, and then make that next choice of what to do. Another example, this is now landing pages. Okay, so the difference that you can see immediately is a landing page has no navigation. Typically doesn't even have a logo, nothing really to distract people. It's just focused on getting people to say yes to one particular thing and begin a pathway of successful journeying with them. So very clean. Everything is focused on one specific action to take. In this case, take the first step, which is to complete a form and join an email list. Another example is a training that you could offer to your audience. So in this case, we have Perfect Media Pitch, and she does a really good job. Dr. Avis does a really good job of for opportunities to actually drum up business, not just to show up on a TV show or a newscast or anything like that, but to actually drum up business from it. And so in this particular case, although this happened last week, she does this type of training every quarter or so, and she's doing a great job of using the Leadpages drag and drop builder to showcase what she can offer in this one particular training. And again, it's all focused on one thing. There's no navigation. Even in the footer, the very, very bottom, you just see a few little bits of fine print, but everything about this page is about the one thing that she's offering in this particular training. So you don't have to go as in depth with your pages, but you can be focused on that one thing. As a matter of fact, this is an example of a very high converting page from Lori Wang, who's an influencer on social media and especially on YouTube. She does a lot with social. This is the entirety of the page. And this is one of the things I want to emphasize to you is that the landing pages don't need to be complex. They don't need to have a lot of different sections, although you certainly can, but they will convert the best, the simpler that they are. So I want to share with you the template gallery that we have to really hit this point home. This is the landing page gallery. We also have a website gallery. And in both cases, you can sort by highest converting. And I want you to see that the highest converting pages historically are super simple. Every one of these screenshots in the first couple of rows is the entirety of the landing page. So we'll talk a little bit more about best practices, but I just want you to see that you can learn a lot just from perusing our landing page gallery to see what are the things that are converting the best, and the simplicity is going to rule the day. All right. So with that in mind, I want to make sure that you have a free resource I mentioned earlier that I want you to go ahead and get right away. So this is the link that I want you to use. This link is try.leadpages.com. I'll put it into the chat. And I'll give you a second to go ahead and grab this. This is a lookbook. So a lookbook, as I'm sure you know, is a way for you to see some examples of what makes for a good page. And all you need to do is, you can check it out if you want, review this as the landing page itself, learn a lot just from going through this process, sign up with your best email address. And then what's going to be sent to you is this PDF. And this PDF is 134 pages, most of which have clear examples and why we like the particular pages that we've showcased. So download that. Take a look at it, not right now because we have a training to go through, but make sure you sign up for it right now so that you can have that in your inbox and you can look at this to inspire you with some ideas on what you could do for your landing pages as well. All right. Any questions about that, Brittany, or does that seem pretty clear how they can get that resource? Everybody's good with that?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna also drop it in the chat just in case. So leave it up there for me just for 1 second.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. All right, cool. So try.leadpages.com/MM lookbook. So that's Mogul Millennial lookbook is the reason for the M&M. It's not just that it tastes good. It's because of the initials of Mogul Millennial. So have that in your browser. Go ahead and sign up for it, and it's free. Don't do anything else with it for now. All right. Landing pages for startups. So now that you have a general idea of what things should be about, let's talk about how you can achieve some of your goals. So the first thing I want you to think about when it comes to landing pages is what kind of goals do you have right now? Are you trying to out of your mind and into the world, and you don't know which one is the best one to go with. So that's kind of a proof of concept goal. If you already have an idea, you've already started building it out or starting to offer it, then you're looking for what we call a minimum viable audience. So this is different from a minimum viable product. It's where you're trying to gather together enough people, 100 people, 200 people, to where you can do some actual market research, some testing out of your idea, and see who's willing and able to sign up for information about it, who's willing and able to pre-order the actual thing that you're selling. These are all some of those initial goals that you have. But beyond that, you then start to say, all right, I've already got a product, I've already got something, I've already got some clients. Now I want to grow it. Now I want to scale it. So that's where list building comes in. That's where having more sales comes in. And in both of these final two cases of list building and sales, you're going to use your landing pages to test out different messages. You're going to be able to test out whether or not it addresses a certain demographic, certain age, certain gender, certain identity, certain faith, whatever it is that makes the most powerful entry into your audience. You start to test out different versions of the pages that you could have, and have messaging that you can then say, yeah, this one gets a conversion rate of 15%. This one gets a conversion rate of 25%. Some of you may have an idea for a service that you have. You are thinking, is this service people want to learn how to do it for themselves, or do they just want you to take care of it for them? You have landing pages that can then distinguish between those two pathways and decide which one actually is what the audience wants. Think about what your goals are, make sure that you're clear about them. And if you don't know which one is the most priority for you, then that's why you get with different versions you have. Now, along the way, again, some of you are in different stages of your business. What you do online is going to go through an evolution. And you can go through the order of this evolution if you want to, or you can skip around or avoid some of them. But in take action, revise later fashion, let's assume that for a moment that you're one of the people on the training that is brand new, you're just starting out. Well, you don't have to wait to launch your business until everything is all ready to go. You can start with a coming soon page. You can have your name. This is one of the domains that you should own, is your personal name. Have that name with a coming soon page with an opt-in form that says, be the first to know when we launch the new program. And as you are talking to people, your family, your connections, your network, and they're asking you, what are you up to doing? You can say, I'm launching this. This is available. That is the stage one, or even stage 0 if you want. The next phase of your page on the same exact link could be an about you or contact. So as you want to share more about who you are, what you're up to doing, you can have a form that says, again, be the first to know what's going on, but you can also have a form that says something like, give me your name and email, I'll let you know, but you can also ask me a question that I'll be sure to address in the product or in the program that I'm going to offer. The third type of page you might make, again, replacing the one that you've created in the past, could be a link in bio page. So if you are one of those folks that are pretty active on social media, you know that in your profile, you have the opportunity to link to something. So link to a landing page that is going to have the individual things on the page that you want to showcase. For example, within our templates for landing pages, a Instagram link in bio type of template that you can use ready to go. So this allows you to start to give people an idea of where they can go next for the different things that you're talking about. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is to have something a little bit more useful than just a stack of boxes, a stack of buttons. This is the Instagram links that we tend to use for our link in bio page, where we mimic the Instagram feed with the things that we've been talking about, but each one of these images is linked to the things that we want people to go to. But at the top of the page, we're giving people the opportunity to know what would be the first steps we want them to take. Go to the main website, go to our blog, watch a demo, whatever it is that you're doing for your business, you can have that as the key priority, at the top of the page. All right, so those are just a couple of examples of a link in bio that you can work with. Phase of lead magnet opt-in. So this is again where you take an example that I have here is a social media content planner. It's a very simple page. You've created a PDF downloadable thing that people can use to learn to take that next step. This can be that new link in bio where it's just focused on that one thing. Instead of giving people a lot of different options, this is going to be a more focused way to build your email list. Once you have a product or a service that you're ready to launch, maybe you're a week or two away or even a month out from actual release of it, then the next phase of your web presence can be an early bird sales page, a pre-launch page. So you can offer to people, hey, look, I'm launching this on such and such date. It's going to be set at this price. If you would like to get in early, I'm going to be looking for some beta testers, for some early reviews. Here's how you can be on that list, and here's how you can buy it at a different price. Then that evolves into a regular sales page that has testimonials on it and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually you can have a full-blown website. So again, this is the evolution of a web presence that you can take on in this order, or you can skip, or you can jump right to individual things. But I don't want you to think that you have to have that full website before you launch your actual marketing campaign for whatever it is that you're offering to do. And for those of you that are already at that stage where you're happy with your website, you're happy with the way things are, you use the same evolution for your next program. You don't have to wait till you build out another website. You can have a nice marketing campaign for something else instead. Now, how do you take that idea of what amounts to a landing page for your startup and turn it into one that converts those clicks into clients? This is the thing that I want to really spend the most time on today and make sure you understand. And then we're going to get into how to build this a little bit more inside of Leadpages itself. Actually, I see a question that I want to answer real quick. Alita asked, can this be plugged into a WordPress site? Absolutely. So you can use Leadpages with or without WordPress. You can put it in using our plugin, same domain. You can use a subdomain. All that stuff is really easy to do. And I'd say last time I checked, I think it's like 60% of our customers use WordPress at some point. The downside of WordPress, of course, is it can be overly complicated to manage all the plugins and the security and all that kind of stuff. So you don't have to have WordPress to do this, but if you are using it and you're excited about it, then you can just add on our pages to it. Laura also asked about, actually, there's some other questions here. I'll get to them in a minute because they're a little bit more account focused. And I want to go into this a little bit more in depth first. So checking your ego. So what I'm talking about here is whether you're making a landing page or a website, one of the fatal flaws that startups make, especially before they've really established, overly index on improving themselves to the marketplace. And so the website or the landing page is all about you. It's all about your expertise. It's all about your background. It's all about your personal journey. And I hate to break it to you, but nobody cares. Nobody cares about what it is that makes you tick. They care about themselves and what makes them tick, and they care about the challenge or the problem or the opportunity that they're currently facing and how they can get a solution. So whether it's on a landing page or on a website, your communication, your images, your messaging, your headlines, your bullet points, everything is about them. It's not about you. Now, yes, you can talk about yourself. You can talk about your experience and your expertise, but everything needs to come from the lens of how this is in service of your ideal client and customer base. So that as a stranger, if I come to your website, I need to see on your landing page than I see about you. So yes, have your image, have what it is that you do, but always be thinking, so what? How does this matter to the individual person who's coming to your page? Okay, so check your ego. Second kind of best practice I'd share with you is to focus on the quality of your leads over the quantity. So if you haven't already, you're going to hear, the money's in the list or numbers matter or whatever the case may be. But I want you to think first when it comes to getting people to convert into your own marketing funnel, whatever you want to call it, is that the ideal result for you as a business owner is that you have a person who is a perfect match for the thing that you do, for the program, for the product that you offer, and that person who's coming in as a stranger, you're going to have them help themselves to self-select for you. Because if you have more ideal clients show up as opposed to just randos that join your email list, and you have a big email list, but they don't necessarily convert to eventual customers, the challenge is that your business isn't really going to grow. However, if you get the right people, the quality people in the door, not only will they be willing to pay you without much objection, but they're going to use whatever it is that you do. They're going to benefit from it. They're going to serve as really great referral people and testimonial people. And they're going to help you build up more of confidence that you're on the right track with your business. So focus on the quality leads, which means that you should be offering what we would call effective lead magnets to build up your email list. So what makes an effective lead magnet? Well, there's a couple of key components. Number one thing is it should lead to people to have something that says, here's something to download, give me your email address, I'll give you this checklist. And then you get a bunch of people to say yes. If the checklist doesn't get people to think, hey, this person really knows what they're talking about, I need more of what they have, I want to pay them for whatever the next stage is in the pipeline that you have, then it doesn't really do you much good. So I want you to think about 5 questions. Okay. And I don't have this as a slide, so make sure you're rewatching this. We're about 27 minutes in. If you want to jot a note for yourself to rewatch the replay too. But here are the 5 questions you want to answer with your lead magnet to think of what lead magnet to make. So the first question is, what are you actually selling that the people who download this lead magnet are going to eventually want to buy? What are you selling? The second question that you need to answer is, to whom do you want to sell it? So if you could wave a magic wand and only the perfect people showed up into your business that you love to stage you well about them, that make the most sense to become an ideal client for you. Okay. Demographics, psychographics, what makes them tick? What are they really looking for? The third question I want you to answer before you make your lead magnet is, what is a major problem or challenge that they know that they need to fix or that they want help in fixing? So in your expertise, I'm sure you know what people should have, but when people first come to you, what have they self-identified as the thing that they really want? That's the answer to the question I want you to come up with. The fourth question I want you to answer is, what's the very first step that you can have them take that they would understand would be a step in the right direction towards addressing that challenge? So again, the third question was, what's a problem that they have self-identified so that they can be on the right path to solving it? All right. And the fifth thing that you need to be able to answer as you think about what lead magnet to create, it's, what is that first thing that you can offer to them that gets them on that pathway? All right. So as an example, I will share, let's say somebody on the training is an executive coach, and your thing that you want to sell is a career coaching program, a way for people to understand their pathway of getting a promotion, starting up their business, whatever it happens to be. But most likely it's an employee thing. And to whom do you want to sell it? You want to sell it to people who are in that phase of their life where they want that promotion either internally, or they want to jump to another company into another leadership role. So you think about people who are in their 30s and they're in middle leadership, or not quite to the leadership level, but they're de facto leaders in their companies. They're ready to take on a title. They're ready to have reports that they've self-identified. When they go up for a promotion or they go for a new job, how do they get seen, right? How do they get the opportunity to be recognized as someone, to have that interview, to have that promotion? What's the fourth question? What is a first step that they can take? Well, on LinkedIn, how well have they optimized their LinkedIn profile? Do they have their experiences articulated well enough? That's a problem that you can help them with. And so what can be that first step? It's a checklist on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile to get the interview, to get the promotion. So that's a quick example of the way those 5 questions would be. If you have a question or a thought about this particular idea of what an effective lead magnet could be, please feel free to pop it into the chat. Thank you, Brittany, for posting those questions in there. That was great note taking for me. I appreciate that. But again, rewatch starting at like that minute 27 mark, because this is one of those things people, when they, and when you understand this, it makes the process of thinking about what's a really good lead magnet that you can quickly make, that people can quickly consume. All right, the fourth thing I want you to do with your landing pages to turn those clicks into clients is to compel a decision. Compel a decision. So that doesn't mean you're trying to get people to say yes. What I want you to understand in your marketing is the yeses are nice, but the no's are also really good too. What is a killer for startups is the maybe later, is the indecision. And that's what most people kind of wind up having if they don't compel a decision. So having on your landing page the yes or the no, and letting people know you're good with either way, right? That you're not attached to them having to say yes. What you do want them to do, though, is to say yes or no right now. Because if you can get more people to make that okay, they decide, grow much faster. So we'll talk in a minute about how to put that into action. And then the final thing is, the final two things is about conversion, is whether it's a landing page or a website, the focus isn't just to look good. It's not just to have a site that you're proud of because it makes you shine. It's also about getting people to make those decisions. It's about converting them from a stranger to a lead, to a customer, to an ambassador or a raving fan. All that is what you want to focus on. So don't just make pretty pages, make pages that actually get people to make choices, and therefore conversion rates go up. And to achieve that, you want to make sure that you're testing a lot. So test your messaging, test the color, the images, test everything about your page as much as possible, because the testing is what's going to give you the confidence to know that you're converting the best as you can. All right. So let me dive in and some quick, the Leadpages landing page builder, in order to put some of these best practices into action. So I'm inside the dashboard right now. I'm going to the landing page gallery. I'm going to go into sort by conversion rate. Actually, I'll do newest for just a second. And I'm going to scroll down here to find a very simple page. All right. And let's choose, let's go with the short form sales page for coaching. Let's use this one. So again, we have hundreds of templates. So this is not something that we need to pick a particular one. I just want to show you some ideas on how you can take a template and incorporate some of these ideas. So let's call this landing page for startups, so that I have this for later. And we'll click on continue. And this opens up the Leadpages drag and drop builder. As Brittany said at the beginning of the training, super easy to use, move stuff around where you want it to go. Everything's set on a grid system to keep it easy. You don't have to be a professional designer. You don't have to spend time, dinking around with what exact pixel are you at. This is designed for non-designers to look good. Every page is created around a system of sections, and then a row, and then the rows have individual columns. Those columns can be moved, from side to side. All right. Now, I mentioned a couple of things to think about. So checking your ego. So if you have an image in the hero section, that's the top section, that hero section is usually best served with an image that reflects the person coming to the page. It can be you, if you identify as a member of your own audience, that's great. But typically speaking, it should be an image that evokes a person who can see themselves in what it is that you do. And it also should be a positive image. One of the mistakes I see people make with their landing pages is they make an image on the landing page of somebody who's just frustrated. They're just going through a tough time and whatever. And it's okay to use an image like that later on your page when you're describing what could be the current state of being for that person. But when people first come to a landing page, they want to see a better version of themselves. So having a family or individuals or groups or whatever, but that are having a good time, that have seen the results on the other side of using your product or going through a program that you have, that's what makes for a really good, compelling image. All right. And then the copywriting. So almost all of our templates already have pre-written copy that you can emulate instead of just fake text and placeholder text. We have the things that you can use, like look forward to what you do every day is much different than get my free guide that has 17 things that are important to you. But instead reflect what is that result that people want that is tied together to the thing that you can help them to. Okay. Our thing is, on the page itself, you need to give people the opportunity to convert. So you have this free consultation in this case. Now, I don't recommend that consultations are the first type of lead magnet that you have, but you might already be doing them. So go ahead and use those if you want to. But I want to encourage you to think about those lead magnets that can be digested right away so that people don't have to commit to time on a phone call with you or on a Zoom. Instead, give them a PDF, a resource guide, something of that nature. The pop-up itself is, you'll notice that the page has a button here. Now, if you want, you can put a form on a page that is tied to the email address, the name, et cetera. But what we find converts better usually is a button on the page that when clicked on gets people to then fill out that information. Okay. The reason being that when you first come to a landing page, if your face is hit with a form, kind of their defense nature in our culture today don't want more emails. They want results. They want solutions. And so if the first thing they see on your page is an opt-in form, they tend to kind of put their guard up. But if instead you're using a button that reveals the form, then they're more likely to actually pay attention to what you've written, look at the images, see themselves, et cetera. Okay. Now, the next thing about your pages you may want to include are some social proof in some way. So in order to get people to understand that they are in good hands with you or that your product will serve them, offering logos of people you've worked with, companies you've worked with is great. Having testimonials, even at this top level of a page, can work out really nicely. And if you don't have your product available yet, using a testimonial from a colleague that can vouch for you being a high quality person or that your company is of high quality, that can work as well. It doesn't have to be a testimonial about the product itself. Now, the next thing is compelling those decisions. Okay. So the yes or no is, as you're using this as a sales page, if this were a sales page, one of the things that I want you to incorporate is a countdown timer. Countdown timers allow you to let people know that the offer that's in front of them is available for a limited time. Now, in some cases, I'm sure you've been online, you've seen a countdown timer and the timer goes to 0 and nothing happens. And you're welcome to do that if you want to. But the more powerful use of countdown timers actually has a result when the timer hits 0. So it's really easy to just drag on a countdown timer and then choose what the date is. The date can be a specific calendar date. So we're doing this in the middle of April when we're doing this live. And I would recommend that if you have a webinar training or you have a pre-launch happening, you can use a countdown timer and say, hey, this is how much time is available. But within the Leadpages setup, you're going, I would encourage you to use an evergreen timer that for every new visitor, the timer is reset. And that timer can be reset for an hour, it can be 20 minutes, it can be a couple days. But at that time that the person first comes to your page, that's when they see the timer hit. Even for a free thing, you can encourage that decision by saying, look, this is free, and you can ensure that you get it for free if you get it in the next 20 minutes. Now, after that 20 minutes is over, you can have a version of this page, which is going to have a different offer, or it could be the same offer, but without the timer. So I can duplicate this section and call this hero section free. Okay. And I'll just label it as such. And this hero is going to be hero for, say it's $1, and you offer the same exact thing, but for $1 instead of for free. And you'd be surprised at how many people will still pay you the $1. May not be as much as that do it for free. They are more qualified if they actually pay for it. We remove the timer. Instead of this free consultation, we say it's $1, just to make sure people are serious about it. It can be $97, it could be $1,000. I don't care about the price. The point is that you have a different version of this top section, which then allows you to say, look, when that timer hits 0, I'm going to hide the free opportunity and I'm going to reveal or show the opportunity to pay for the thing that was available for free. And what that does is it enables you to teach your audience that when you have a timer on the page, that the timer means something, and that when that timer hits 0, what was the initial offer has gone away. Now, this timer can be changed in its styling. You can change its colors. You can change the label of the text. You can take this and make it into a block or boxed in, different ways to make the timer really pop and stand out on your page. That's up to you design wise. But the point psychologically, how know and know that when that timer hits 0, something else is going to be at play. All right. So a couple of different things I wanted you to make sure that you understand how important that can be. Now, the timer also can be, by the way, set to the date, set to evergreen, or it can be set to daily. So every day at midnight, it can reset. I don't use that personally too much or encourage it, because it does make it seem like for everybody that your timers are just kind of these marketing gimmicks. I really want you to use timers the ethical marketing way, which is to say, when that timer hits 0, it actually does mean that something has changed. The same thing can apply, by the way, for your product. So when your product, let's say you're doing a pre-launch for a program, and the program normal price is going to be $500, and you're offering an early bird pre-launch sale for $250, then what you do is you say something like special. On this, you're going to remove the opt-in form. And if you're using our pro level account, then you bring in our checkout, which allows you to hook this up to Stripe, allows you to get people to pay you ahead of time for whatever the product happens to be. Let's call it the primary product. Pick your price and say, this is the price that it is now. And then your secondary section, when that timer hits 0, let's say this is going to be, just for sake of our clarity, we'll call this, instead of my pop-up one, we'll call this early bird price. And we click on save. And this is the pop-up that has that early bird price for it. We then have this as our first section. But the second section is going to be, instead of 97, it's going to be 197 or whatever the price is. Same kind of thing. You go to edit the pop-up, edit to a new pop-up, and that new pop-up is going to have the new price point and stuff like that. So you would delete this form, go in, drag on a new checkout, connect this checkout to the second product that you have. And that secondary product can be higher or lower in price. It's up to you. So just getting that idea of having different items to sell or different price points to sell of the same thing allows you to adjust how, when somebody first comes to your page, they see one thing, and then after that timer hits 0, they can see something else. All right. Somebody asked earlier as well about integrations. So with Leadpages, whether it's the sale or it's an opt-in, you do have the opportunity to integrate with all the major email providers. So we go to more services, we connect to MailChimp, we connect to Constant Contact, to Drip, whatever that service is. See it here, and that allows you to pass the data over automatically with that, with a Zap. So whether somebody buys first and then they get added to the CRM, or they're opting in for free, they can be added to that list. You can also receive the email right to your inbox if you want to. And then once you have connected to the email provider, you can choose which list or workflow that particular lead is going to go into. You can also adjust what people will see. You can add in individual fields. You can add GDPR compliant information and language to make sure people want more stuff from you. And then once you're done setting that up, you can decide where do they go after they sign up. So setting up a thank you page, a special offer page, whatever the case may be, is available. You can also add the lead magnet into our system for us to send it out on your behalf. So if you have something that you want people to receive when they opt in or when they buy, you for us to do it and have your email provider send it out instead. These are all like important mechanical steps that we make super easy to do so that you don't have to overcomplicate things in the back end of some of the other systems that you would otherwise utilize. Okay. Now, once you have your page the way that you want it, you then publish your page. And as was discussed earlier, you can have this publish directly to your own domain or a subdomain on your main account. Once you have published the page, you also have the opportunity to hook it up to your WordPress site. I'm not going to demonstrate how to go through the WordPress plugin. There's some tutorials on our site that make that super easy. It's basically 4 steps. But I do want you to see that there is a WordPress plugin for you to download. We make it easy for you to get. And then once it's on, you just go into your WordPress dashboard, and there's literally 4 clicks for you to decide which page do you want to publish, what's the URL going to be, do you want it to be a landing page, kinds of options like that. And you can even download the full HTML if you want to, or a dynamic HTML page if you're using some other type of system that allows you to upload HTML pages. All right. I want to answer some more questions, but the main thing I wanted to share with you today is some of the key ways that you can utilize landing pages. It's a short conversation, but I hope that you start to get the idea of how you can use landing pages for your startup. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, we do have a special offer for you. So if you sign up for the free lookbook, you're going to receive an offer, but don't take advantage of that one because it's not as good as what Brittany and I have set up for you. So this is the link that you want to use. This is actually going to give you 35% off of the first purchase that you do with Leadpages. So you can buy monthly if you want to, but the monthly offer would get you started with a 14-day free trial, and then your first month would be 35% free trial for 14 days, test everything out, see that you are in love with it, and then use the annual plan instead so that you can get 35% off the entire year. So that essentially makes it so that's about half price compared to the monthly, because our annual rates are already lower than monthly as it is, but now you're getting 35% off on top of that. I mentioned at the beginning this landing page lookbook as a way to get inspired. So make sure that if you didn't hear me say that earlier, maybe you joined in a little bit late or you just didn't do it yet, make sure that you're getting that lookbook as a free resource to inspire you with what your pages can look like. But again, use the link try.leadpages.com/pitch in order to get 35% off instead of any other deal that you might see, which is not as good. All right. Brittany, before I go through the Zoom chat, have you identified any particular questions or want to share any comments before we jump into questions?
Yeah, so I went through, I tried to catch all the questions. And so as we go through the ones that I copied and pasted in my notes, if you don't hear your question, I'm so sorry. Just let me know, okay? But let me see. I'm gonna try to ask them in order. And I think they're all honestly like really great questions. One of the first questions that I saw was from Kendra. She wanted to know, does the strategy change, I guess, for building landing pages for a waitlist versus becoming a customer? Kendra, if I have your question wrong, then just unmute yourself and you can, ask it the way that you want, but I believe that's what you meant.
Yeah. So again, the question, I'm just trying to look right here. I think we have somebody unmuted that's got some noise going on in the background. So does the strategy change for a wait list versus a product? Do I understand the question right?
You did. And when I had originally asked it, it was like before you had talked about the slide for like, whether it's like a landing page or like a product, and then like, you're introducing the product. So I think you kind of already actually answered my question.
Okay, cool. So the one thing I'd add, just to be as specific as possible with this particular case, is every page you make is about getting people to say yes or no at the moment. So the wait list, usually it's going to be very simple page. Hey, I'm getting ready to launch this thing. It's going to address these 3 things. The one thing I'd say is if you have the opportunity in that wait list, you would give an opportunity for people to say a question or something they hope that they would see in the product. So if you have the wait list and it's coming out in 3 weeks and you still have the opportunity to like adjust what your offer winds up being, you can have, give me your name and email, and also tell me one thing you're most excited about this you want to make sure to include. And that gives you a little bit of market research along the way instead of just the email itself. And it gives you a bit more engagement with that person. Whereas with the product, when the product comes along, that form that says, hey, it's available, you can buy it right now, you don't need that information, but you could still have on your form, what's one thing you want to achieve? What does success mean to you with this product? And that just gives you that, again, more language, more research for that individual person.
Oh, that's so helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. Great question.
Hey, Bob, another question that we had was from, I believe your name is pronounced Kriya. But she said, what is the appropriate time frame to make a landing page prior to launching? So let's say that, you're building your product and you probably need to raise funding in order to actually launch that product and get it into market. At what stage should you start building that landing page and promoting it?
Yeah, I'd say yesterday. So whether it's 3 days from now or 3 months from now, or even 3 years from now, you need to start building up an audience of people that you want to let them know that you're cooking something up. Now, there is a bit of nuance, right? When it's undecided about what exactly your product's going to be, but most of you are at that stage where you've got the idea and you need to ramp up some momentum. And so immediately you should have this notification page up. As soon as you have the idea that something's coming, even if you change your mind later and you never actually release that product, you want to have that initial thing online so that you can start sending people to somewhere, and they're going to be looking stuff up anyway. You go to a networking event, you're on this call and you see people and you recognize their name, you look them up on LinkedIn. Having that link in bio right now is going to be crucial. You never know who's going to look and the only thing they find from you is like a Facebook profile, which is all about your friends and family, not about your business, then you don't have the chance to get that growth. So as soon as possible, have something online. And that's why I recommend having your own name, at least as a domain, because no matter what business you have, if you're at the core of it, or you're leading it, then you make it easy for people to find you. And if you get them on an email list, you can say, hey, look, my project is going to be released in 3 months. I'm, doing some interviews with people. Would you be willing and able to hop on a call for 10 minutes so I can ask you some questions that help me build the best product possible? Like, all those things become possible if you have an email list. If you just go on Instagram and say, hey, I'd love to chat with people, you don't know who you're going to get. But if they've already been filtered through some form of opportunity to join an email list, hopefully get a download from you of some kind, then you just get that quality of your audience to grow faster.
Yeah, that's a really great point. One of my friends from college, she decided to go the Instagram route to just get potential customer feedback as she's creating her product, and Instagram just randomly deleted her account because she clicked on one of those spam crypto, whatever, everybody gets in their DM here and there. And so all people that she's been talking to, she can't even access that information because her account is down, it's removed from her. So you can use Instagram to drive them, but you need to collect emails.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want a following on social channels that matter to you, but as you mentioned, Brittany, that can go away in a second, and a lot of times there's no real recourse. So having people on your own email list is one of the most important assets you can develop as a startup founder.
This is a question that was sent to me just through DM, but sorry, go ahead. I think that was somebody else. But this is a question that was sent to me through a DM, but I think it's something that everybody should know the answer to. And Bob, I would love to know what your thoughts are on this, but they wanted to know if you have, so currently they're using HubSpot and Google trackers for their website. And they wanted to know if you have, your own existing website and those trackers on it, on those sites, how would you best integrate that with your landing page?
Yeah, really good question. So first of all, we try to make it as easy as possible with that. So we have in the settings an analytics tab where you can put anything that you want to track with. So your Google ID for Google Analytics, you can pop in right here. If you're using an ad platform like Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever else, you can put those tracking codes in here. If you're using heat map tracking software, you can put the JavaScript code into these boxes as well. So all of that is possible. When you're using something like HubSpot, which is platform, if you don't know what you're doing, and even if you do know what you're doing, they tend to need a little bit of extra team members to really manage it. you can still use Leadpages on a subdomain, or depending on how your implementation of HubSpot works, you can import the HTML. But the thing is that when you have an idea, you want to be able to release the marketing arm of that idea as fast as possible. And that's what I think you get with Leadpages. So we like to say we play well with others so that you can be using all these other tools and then add Leadpages to them. That works most of the time really well, especially on a subdomain of your main site. But as far as tracking and adding other things, adding little messenger chat or a type form or intercom chat on your pages, all that is done really easily by just plopping the code into here. And another quick tool that we love to connect people to is Calendly. So if consultations and you want to get people booking time on your calendar, you can embed pretty much any calendar system, but we have a direct connection with Calendly so that for those of you that are using what I think is the top system for online calendars, you can do that directly just by putting your link in, which is really nice. So I know I answered about 5 questions to the one that you asked, but I think those are all useful pieces of information for you.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good. The other few questions that I see, they're more so like asking for like specific type of examples. I know we're running like short on time. And so unfortunately, I don't know if we can get to that right now, but Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, if they're wanting to see like specific type of pages, so maybe for like a consumer product or I don't know, let's say that they have a service type of based business, is there a way to like easily find that in Leadpages to find a particular type of template?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, in the link there, I just plopped the link to the lookbook again, which has a lot of examples of, some of them are templates, some of them are real world examples that people took templates and made them into. But if you go into the template gallery, which you can go to at leadpages.com/templates, you can come into this little sidebar here and you can see the industry and see all these different categories of things that we've categorized them by design. Now, of course, you can use any page for any purpose, but the designs of the templates themselves are, giving you a shortcut to, like, if you're a real estate agent, then we've already got the language on the page that a real estate agent might use. If you're an app or software type person, then you've got the software landing pages for apps or for tools that you would either download or have as a SaaS. So those are created. The page type you also have, is it for an opt-in, is it for sales, is it for discount, giveaways, all that kind of stuff. Those are all ways that we've gathered them, but we've also gathered them with style. So if you want a more colorful type of page, you can sort through faster for that. If you have a specific color in mind with your page, like orange, we've got the color scheme kind of pre-done. Again, you can modify all these things, but it just shortcuts the path. And that's our goal with our software as an onboarding team. We want to get you from trial to first page published to first lead collected as short as possible. So if you can do that in an afternoon, how powerful is that, right? If it takes you a couple of days as opposed to weeks of working with developers, how powerful is that? And again, you can do that with landing pages or full-blown website templates too, if you want to. Great question.
So I know we're almost at time. Bob, before I share a few things, do you have anything that you want to share with everyone?
Yeah, the main thing is, thank you so much for letting me into your world today so I could teach you a few things that I love and that I'm passionate about. Secondly, thank you for what you're doing with your startup. You're impacting the lives of your clients and your customers, and regardless of the phase of business that you're in, you're dedicating your business life, professional life, to improving other people, which I think is really admirable. And no matter what stage you're at, keep at it, because it's hard work, but it's worth it. And the third thing is to take action and revise later. Make sure that you don't feel like you have to have everything lined up and perfect to be moving forward. Take the action that you can take today, and then revise with the real world feedback you get from the efforts that you do. So thanks, and hope to see you inside of Leadpages. I did see a couple of people asking about one-on-one consultations and help from Leadpages. I will say that our support is phenomenal. recently given us an award for being a leader in the customer support area for this industry. They do offer some feedback every Wednesday afternoon. I do coaching calls where the group comes in, shows me their pages. I give you feedback and give you ideas on how to improve your pages as you've already deployed them. Also discuss marketing strategies, etc. So we have a lot of support and ways to help you and help guide you. We also have an active Facebook community where you can say, hey, I just released this page. Does it speak to you? Is it, what kind of feedback do you have to help me improve it? So there's a lot of ways that you're not alone when you're working with Leadpages. Okay. And when you go in, I see Kendra asked about the link. When you go into the dashboard over here on the right side, there is an events dashboard. So what we're on right now is landing pages for startup growth. So any webinar that's coming up, you'll see listed here, but the conversion coaching calls, that's the call that I'm talking about on details. All right, but that's it for me. Thanks so much, Brittany, for having me on.
Yeah, no, thank you for taking time out and giving us all these gems. And one thing that we like to do at Mogul is to make sure that everything that we put on, like an event, workshop, is super informative. And so I hope you all were able to walk away learning something new. Definitely try out Leadpages. If you want, I can share with you some of the pages that I built before. I'm working on a few other ones for some of our downloadable resources, and I'll be excited to share that with y'all really, really soon. But biggest piece of advice that I have for y'all, just as we lead today, just don't think too hard about it. You want to build something, get feedback, and then you can make changes as needed. Too often I see people, it takes them months to create a landing page. It shouldn't take months. So, build it out, get feedback, and then, make changes where it's needed. But if you tuned in late, you'll get the replay on Friday. And so tomorrow you'll get the replay sent to you via email tomorrow, along with some of the links and offers that Bob shared with you. The deal that he and Mogul put together for you to use Leadpages, it expires in June. And so go ahead and take advantage of that before June. But thank y'all again for hanging out with me today during your lunch hour, and hope to see y'all soon at the next event.